Okay, it has come to my attention that around the country there's some concern, growing concern about pinch collars. Now, I don't really know what the person or persons know or think they know that's saying that they should be outlawed. There are people complaining that it's inhumane. I mean, there are a lot of, there seems to be a lot of statements going around on the negative side. I too believe that a dog that does not need to have a pinch collar or have one used on him or her, you shouldn't use one. Among you that seem to think that no dog needs one, you are the same people, and I would tell you this if we could sit and talk, that also condemn the dog when he's not doing what you think that he or she should with regard to how you think they should be. Case in point, what about a dog that's aggressive, that his inherent nature is aggression? All right, let's say this dog is being aggressive with his owner, which is the worst time it could be happening as far as I'm concerned. You're telling me that you'll try to sweet talk him, let him have his way, offer him treats or whatever it is to get him to behave? You may not believe this, but 75 to 85% of the total dog owning population, in some form or other, when they have an aggressive dog, they are afraid of that dog too, to some degree. Afraid of their own dog now. I'm not talking about the dog next door. I'm not talking about the dog down the street or the one you encounter in the park. I'm talking about the dog living in your home. To me, that's crazy, because if you can't handle him, why should I have to be exposed to him at all? And, you know, there are many ways and reasons for a person to get a dog. There are many dogs coming to this country that are not just aggressive. Nah, you got Rottweilers for that. You got German Shepherds for that. You got Dobermans for that. I'm talking about aggressive dogs. I'm talking about dogs that, if you should pardon the expression, because I know that many of us seem to, I don't know, we can't seem to stomach the truth, but the average dog that I'm speaking of, I'm talking about really aggressive dogs on top, what I consider to be awesome canine guardians, will kill the average Rottweiler or German Shepherd. The Doberman, he didn't have anything coming from either one of the others. I mean aggressive dogs. Should we ban them, as most of you are going to say, because you don't know how to handle them, because the dog won't measure up to what you think he should, because you don't seem to understand or can't come to grips with the fact that what you're thinking hasn't got anything to do with dogs. Human standards do not apply. I have said it throughout these filmings, and I will continue to say it. If you think that because you had a dog that was a pretty good dog of a particular breed, that all the dogs in that breed are supposed to be like that. Let's say that you owned a Doberman Pinscher, since most of America seems to think that's the ultimate dog, or one of them. And your Doberman Pinscher was just the biggest, lovable lap dog you ever had. If you owned one that was like that, you should have gotten rid of him by my standards, because if he was supposed to be a guard dog and the Doberman is supposed to be a tough dog, then he was surely a very, very poor representative of the breed. But instead of that, you brag about how useless he is. Okay, wrong term. What a nice dog he is, what a great pet he is, and how the children can jump up and down in his stomach and slap him and pinch him and pull his ears, and he does nothing. Don't send your children to the real dogs. Now, a Doberman Pinscher, same breed, that would bite that child, you say he's a bad dog, he must be destroyed. You want to kill the good dogs, keep the useless ones, and then you can't figure out why the canines that most of the time that the registries are keeping or recognizing, they won't do the job that they were bred to do, and you can't figure out why. You're breeding dogs that are nothing. I don't think that's true in Germany or any other country practically in this world. My interest is in, if you own a dog and I own a dog, or if I own a dog and you do not, I have chosen aggressive dogs. I want aggressive dogs. And your Dobermans, your Rottweilers, your German Shepherds won't do. They are not aggressive enough for me. Now, I'm sure I've got your attention by now. What happens when, and I've Charka, and I don't want to hear from, well, send me your letters, yes. I would be happy to talk to almost anybody that wants to sit down and talk about it. I'm not interested in arguing. Can you please understand that? I want to explain myself, offer you a challenge, which I will not do in this film, but I will offer you a challenge. If you think your system is better than mine, that's not really the issue, because if your dog will behave under the current system that you're using, I think that's fine. But what is behavior? See, we have to narrow this thing down and break it up into the reality of, is the dog really behaving, or is it something that you're putting up with? Well, yes, my dog's a good dog, but if there's a but, people, something is wrong. If I tell you that Tosa over there is a good dog, that he lies around in here when we're doing protection work, does not jump up when dogs are trying to bite me, threatening me, I'm sure in dog world with all the tenacity that they can muster, he lies over there and does not do a thing. He's not on a string. There's nothing holding him over there except me telling him to go over there and stay. Realize that, and I will attempt to explain in brief what kind of dog I'm dealing with. Now, I am not trying to smooth this over or make it so that it sounds good. I'm not trying to sell you a Tosa. I wish most of you would never get one, because when you do get good dogs, you want to turn them into lap dogs or make excuses for their ineptness, for your ineptness, sorry, because the dog's doing what he's going to do. But a Tosa, in brief, is a fighter. He was bred to pit fight. Does that bother you? Then don't get one. Does it bother you to know that he will kill the average dog and any man? Then don't get one. There are several breeds of dogs that are in this country, and some more that are coming to this country, that will do that. Does that mean they're bad dogs because you don't understand? Because most of us don't bother to come to grips with the fact that we need to learn a lot more about dogs before we start trying to go get them. I understand, back to this pinch collar thing, that there are pinch collar, there's how shall I say this, anti-pinch collar rally going on. Maybe it's across the country, maybe it's wherever it is, I'm not 100% sure. Why is the pinch collar bad? It's certainly not. It was invented. Do you realize that when the choke collar was first introduced to Americans, that we screwed up our faces? Oh, I would never put that on my dog. That's horrible. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're the ones that dubbed it choke collar. It's a slip collar. That's what the proper terminology should be, because when it's used properly, it never chokes the dog. Can it choke him? Absolutely. Usually he chokes himself because the person on the other end does not bother or has not bothered or has not the knowledge to know how to use the thing and won't try to find out. Does that mean the dog is bad, or that the instrument is bad, the tool is bad? I think not. If I come with my child or children out to the park, any public park where I'd like to think I'd have a right to come and be, whether you do or not, we won't get into that. But I'd surely have a right to not have to be pestered by your dog. And I fully intend to be in a position not to be pestered by your dog, whether he or she is Friendly Bob or Aggressive Bill. Doesn't matter. I want aggressive dogs. I have admitted that throughout this. If I have an aggressive dog, I have an obligation to you. If I have a Friendly Bob dog, I have an obligation to you, the general public. My obligation, in my humble opinion, is to control that dog. In no uncertain terms. I'm not talking about he's under control. Oh, he slipped, he got off the leash. That's your responsibility, my responsibility in this case, since I'm talking about me. I want to know that I can call him back, even if he is a dog fighter and he sees a dog that he thinks he want to tear to pieces. If you keep your dog, I've got mine.